About 5 months after the first battle of Geonosis, Master Obi-Wan Kenobi and his apprentice Anakin Skywalker are sent on a pretty ridiculous mission by Mace Windu and the Jedi Council to a planet completely filled in darkness with no visibility at all to stop a separatist ambush. While there, Anakin and Obi-Wan were ambushed themselves by creepy creatures known as the Shadowhunters, which were completely invisible to the two Jedi. While trying to fight back, Anakin showed a strong darkness flowing through him, absolutely terrifying his master. So before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed for more awesome Star Wars lore content. The story begins far out in the expansion region of the galaxy on the dark, gloomy planet of Nivek, which Mace Windu and the Council have told Anakin and Obi-Wan is filled with the creepy species known as Shadow Men. As the two touch down on the surface, Anakin immediately realizes why they call Nivek the Night Planet and is completely blind, unable to see a thing. This also leads Obi-Wan to realize why Master Windu was so worried that this was a perfect place for a separatist ambush. The Shadowhunters are silently and creepily watching over the two Jedi, and Obi-Wan has no clue that they're even there since he can't see them. The two ignite their lightsabers to gain some small amount of light and know that if the Jedi Council's suspicions are correct, the Nivek Shadowhunters are hiding separatist weapons on the planet, willing to do absolutely anything to protect them. As the two are moving forward on the dark surface of the planet, Anakin tells his master that the Shadow Men can't stay hidden forever, but Obi-Wan quickly replies that they don't intend to, as a massive net drops down onto the two, almost catching the both of them in a horrid trap. Despite having pretty poor visibility on the planet, Obi-Wan immediately recognizes that the net is made from a Durasteel cable, which confirms the Jedi Council's theory that these Shadow Men are very high-tech hunters, far more cunning than they had assumed. Obi-Wan quickly realizes that these Shadowhunters must be in the canopy above them, but he still can't see any movement in the darkness. Because of this, Obi-Wan wants to use their sense of sound and hearing to locate the shadow creatures, telling Anakin to remain focused on that, but before he can even finish his sentence, Obi-Wan is punched in the jaw out of nowhere, spilling blood immediately. After a short moment, he is then punched again in the chest, leaving him in a lot of pain, before again being uppercut from seemingly nowhere. The Shadowhunters are too dark and far too quick to be spotted. Anakin calls out to his master, wondering what happened since he didn't see anyone punch him, and Obi-Wan quickly realizes that this attack was only a small test to see if the Jedi were really unable to see them, meaning that the next attack is going to be a whole lot more painful. At this point, Obi-Wan is completely done with this planet and begins running away from the area back to the ship. Unfortunately, their path is very soon blocked by a foul-smelling tar lake, which is smoldering and burning like lava. In this shot, Obi-Wan even has the high ground, which is some very unfortunate foreshadowing of the future.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Because the two Jedi are still blinded by the darkness, Obi-Wan knows that leaping across the scorching tar will likely result in them both jumping to their deaths, so he knows they have to go around. As Anakin and Obi-Wan try to navigate around the hot tar, they quickly see sonic blaster fire coming from above them before Anakin spots something else. He knows that there is something there, but he can't exactly tell where it is, since it's moving in a rapid and random way. Anakin wildly flails his arms out with the Force, trying to slam the creature with nearby rocks. Anakin knows that he might not be able to see these separatist Shadowhunters, but he certainly knows that they are all around him, before summoning a storm of rocks and launching them deep into the darkness. He knows he has hit something, but can't see what just yet. Obi-Wan immediately blasts Anakin for being reckless and careless with his use of the Force, warning him that he will hurt somebody one day if he does not take more care. Anakin, however, is too proud and confident to take this advice, telling his master that he is only just getting started and wants to attack even harder. As Anakin rushes off eagerly to inspect the damage he caused, Obi-Wan is angry with himself and promises that he will teach Anakin to control his emotions and use of the Force. He has promised Qui-Gon that he would do this, so he's going to do everything he can to keep that promise. As Anakin walks up to the impact site to see what he hit, Obi-Wan is disappointed and worried about his Padawan, asking him, "Not quite the target you wanted." Disappointed with his carelessness and imprecision, the way of the dark side. The Jedi, on the other hand, attack precisely and with care. Anakin then fires back at Obi-Wan by saying, "At least I fought back." But Obi-Wan cautions Anakin, warning him that he lashed out and that there's a pretty big difference between fighting back precisely and only at the target, rather than lashing out at everyone and everything in your way. Finally, Obi-Wan reminds Anakin that he must learn to be cautious and precise in his use of the Force in order to shield himself from the temptation of the dark side, but while he is saying this, two shady hands grab Obi-Wan around his shoulders and pull him into the darkness. In response to this, Anakin's eyes turn red and he screams out in anger for the creatures to let go of his master. Anakin then wildly swings his blue blade at the creatures, but he knows that they have him surrounded because the two Jedi are basically blind. Obi-Wan, however, delivers some more important wisdom, telling Anakin that they only think they are blind. However, they are not actually blind because they have the Force. Hilariously, Anakin then says to Obi-Wan, "Master, I think you took a blow to the head," but wisely, Kenobi tells his young Padawan that they have been relying on their vision far too much, which has failed them. Now they will tap into the Force and use only that as their guide. Using the Force to guide their actions, Anakin and Obi-Wan are able to fight off their Shadowhunter enemies and finally strike back. Obi-Wan continues to remind Anakin that he needs to let go of his conscious self and allow the Force to guide his actions rather than his emotions or feelings. The two can sense the Shadowhunters crawling all over the surface of the dark planet, but they must only focus on the ones they can reach and not be overwhelmed by the sheer amount of these creepy creatures. As Anakin slices a few heads off of the creatures, Obi-Wan then warns him to wait, but there's no chance Anakin is stopping, rushing across the Tar Lake, using the Force as a replacement for his vision. Obi-Wan demands to know where on this planet they are going, and Anakin simply asks, "Can't you hear it, Master?" Obi-Wan is confused, but Anakin soon points to a massive Separatist factory where the machines are humming loudly inside. This leaves Obi-Wan shocked and very proud of Anakin because he wasn't able to hear anything. Anakin then responds to this by saying, "I guess we're just wired differently, Master," to which Obi-Wan hilariously responds, "There's no question about that, Anakin," before returning to their mission. The two then make their way up the ramp to the factory, slicing and dicing every B-1 battle droid that they see, obliterating anything in their way, before storming into the main building and destroying all of the power converters. For the larger ones, Anakin plants blast charges around the area, and the two Jedi quickly make their escape while being shot at by a group of angry B-1 battle droids. The two then leap outside of the building, making it out just in time before the blast charges detonate, sending the whole place up in a deep red fireball, and destroying the Separatist weapons factory once and for all. After this, Anakin is very pleased that their mission is complete and asks his master what's next. Obi-Wan recommends that they just get back to their ship immediately, as it will soon be getting very dark and very grim on this planet once again. Thankfully, the raging inferno and fireball created by the factory illuminates the surface of the planet just enough so that Anakin and Obi-Wan can see the path back to their ship. As the two sneak their way back to the ship, Obi-Wan is very thankful that Anakin did not embrace the dark side on this gloomy planet and knows that he still has quite a lot to learn about the ways of the Jedi. And Obi-Wan himself knows that he still has quite a lot to learn about teaching a young apprentice, especially one as wild and powerful as Anakin. So that is the time Anakin showed his dark side to Obi-Wan on a dark, gloomy world. One of the first major times during the war that Anakin showed this off. Thanks so much for watching, really hope you enjoyed the video. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.